On January 22nd, 2021, I uploaded my take on the top 10 ocean liners. At the time, it was my definitive list, but that was 7 months ago. Since then, my knowledge of ocean liners has grown quite a bit, which has changed my opinion on almost every ship I put on the list. That is not the only reason why I am making this video though. Not only do I have a drastically different list than I did 7 months ago, but my editing style has changed, and most importantly, my way of ranking them has changed. In the old video, I chose my favorite ocean liners based off of how much they have affected my life and, to be honest, how popular they were. Now though, while I do have quite a lot of very popular ships on this list, that is not a factor of why I chose them. This time around, I rank my ships based off of how much I personally like their design, interior, exterior, etc., how much I know about them and talk about them, and overall how good they actually were. Also, just to note, I personally am a 1910s to 1920s ocean liner guy, which is why I only put a few 1930s to 1950s ocean liners on my list. I just prefer the more boxy look and palace-like interiors to the streamlined look and Art Deco interiors a lot of ships during that era had. Okay, let's get onto the list. Oh wait, just one more thing. In the old video, I made a few mistakes regarding some of the ships I put on the list. For the ocean liners still on the list, I'll try to address them. Okay, now onto the list. Now, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I really like Queen Mary too. I don't know what it is, but I just find her design appealing. She does have that cruise ship-esque design with the overly tall superstructure and, in my opinion, an interior which is just a little too much, but I don't care. The Queen Mary 2 will always be a beautiful ship to me, not only because she is the last ocean liner, but because her design, while, like I mentioned earlier, it's just a little too cruise ship-esque for its own good, still looks good to me, besides the stern. I like how the forward superstructure resembles Queen Mary's forward superstructure, while at the same time being its own thing. I love the long ocean liner bow, I love some of the interior, but most importantly, I love how the designers actually tried. You can tell that they wanted to make a ship which captured the magic of classic ocean liners, and I think they just about succeeded. She has many similarities to cruise ships, almost to a fault. The superstructure, parts of the interior, and most importantly, size. But with the much longer bow, the actual good interior in some places, and the classic Cunard branding, I think Queen Mary 2 well earns the title of ocean liner. Normandy. No, not the city. No, not the battleship. Normandy, the ocean liner. I love Normandy, which, just like the Queen Mary 2, for some reason, is an unpopular opinion. I guess I can see why though. The interior is simply too luxurious, making the whole ship feel like a floating art museum instead of a working ship. The stern also is kind of weird, like the staircase superstructure and the fantail. I honestly don't really mind though, since the exterior is so incredibly beautiful that it kind of makes up for it. And when I say incredible, I mean it. I did mention earlier how I prefer the more boxy look of ocean liners, and I do, but Normandy makes the look work better than any ocean liner from that era, in my opinion, of course. The bow is very sleek, and I love how it kind of just melts into the superstructure. The superstructure itself is very clean, especially the forward end. I just love how everything molds together so perfectly, to the point where it just looks like they gave an artist a paintbrush and told them to go at it. I think that's a perfect description of Normandy. She is pure art. Every sleek line, every unique curve, all of it is art. It really, no, truly is sad Normandy met such a quick end to her life, because I can only wonder what life she would have had. Ah yes, the Queen Elizabeth. In my opinion, one of the most beautiful Cunarders ever created. Contrary to popular belief, she is not actually the sister to Queen Mary, although I can see the similarities. both of which have similar superstructures, similar hull shapes, kind of similar interior, and a similar design in general. In my opinion though, Queen Elizabeth is simply a more modern design, with less traditional design features like Queen Mary, going for a newer look, which I think works in her favor. For example, Queen Mary has a well deck, Queen Elizabeth doesn't. Queen Mary has 3 funnels, Queen Elizabeth has 2. It all correlates to a much cleaner look overall, which gives it the edge over Queen Mary. Enough with the comparisons though. Why do I like the ship? Well, like I mentioned earlier, her fresh design, but let me elaborate a little more, since this is my favorite thing about the ship. Just like Normandy, her curves and lines are plain stunning, with that beautiful rounded forward superstructure and the all out there sheer. The funnels as well are close to perfect in my opinion, since even though there are less funnels than past Cunarders like Queen Mary, you still get the idea that she is a towering giant based off of the size relative to the hull. In fact, I think 2 wide yet short funnels gives you the idea of size and luxury better than 3 or 4 tall funnels. Overall, I think Queen Elizabeth is a fantastic ship, which is severely underrated by the community. In the last Top 10 Ocean Liners video, I mentioned how I didn't know much about the Empress of Ireland, and how I hoped in the future I would learn more. Well now, I have. After more than 7 months, as well as a video on the topic, I have learned a lot about Empress of Ireland, to the point where she actually earns the right to be on this list. Before I actually talk about why I love the ship though, I would like to address something. So, in the original video, I mentioned how she was sunk only a month after Titanic. I honestly don't really know why I said this, because in the original script it says 2 years and a month. Okay, now onto the appraisal. Empress of Ireland to me is the perfect embodiment of comfort. Unlike many ships of her size, Empress of Ireland feels like a truly safe ship. From her unique and kind of cute exterior to her phenomenal interior, she looks and feels like a large and luxurious ship, unlike Lusitania or Mauritania, even though in reality she was quite small. That's the magic of the design of Empress of Ireland. She makes you feel like you're on a top-of-the-line ocean liner, and that is important to me. Many ships of her size during that time were, in my opinion, claustrophobic, being too open and rigid for my liking, even if the interiors were great. Empress of Ireland, on the other hand, looks ahead of her time, in terms of exterior and, in some cases, interior. It is for those reasons why Canada's Titanic will always have a spot on this list. The Aquitania is an absolutely gorgeous ship from the inside out. For a while though, I kinda forgot about her, to the point where I wasn't going to put her on this list. After making the Aquitania tribute video though, my love for this ship has been reawakened. I really think the Aquitania is the pinnacle of the 4-funnel design, with a beautiful superstructure and sleek hull making her one of my favorites. I really can't stress enough how much I love her exterior. It may be boxy, but like I mentioned earlier, that is a design element I absolutely love, especially with Aquitania. It's a design element which, on other lesser vessels, would work against the overall look. On Aquitania though, it works so well because other parts of the ship like the bow and funnels improve the aesthetic, building on what alone wouldn't look good. The only thing I don't really like about this aspect of the design though, is the stern. The fantail itself doesn't look bad, but the way the superstructure ends compared to how short the fantail and poop deck are make it feel unnecessarily stubby. I think Big Old Boats explains it well in his list. He says how a ship should look just as good sailing away from you as it does sailing towards you, and I think Aquitania just doesn't cut it. The interior, on the other hand, is absolutely gorgeous. I love the amount of color, decoration, and art displayed inside this ship. It makes the look so diverse, especially since every room has a unique look to it. Aquitania might have a few flaws here and there, but overall, I think she still deserves a spot on my list. At this point, we have made it to the truly amazing ships. Lusitania is by definition a stunning ship, primarily from the inside. Her interior is indescribable, but I'll do my best to describe it. For one, every wall, every ceiling, and every beam has some sort of decoration, and it doesn't matter what class. Even third class, for the most part, was decorated very well, even the parts exposed, like pipes or beams. That is something you couldn't find on any other ship, even White Star's Olympic class, which had exposed pipes in first class. Lusitania's interior is something of dreams, and the more pictures I look at, the more I fall in love with it. Now, the exterior I don't think as highly of. I much prefer Mauritania's exterior, since it looks and feels inviting. On Lusitania, while I do think it looks pretty nice, it's kind of clunky. I can't really pinpoint why that is, but it might just be because the pictures are in black and white. I will say though, her trial paint scheme looks very nice, with the white stripe running all the way to the sea deck promenade. It looks much better than her career paint scheme, as it molds with the superstructure and makes it look a lot bigger. That might be the problem. The black hole doesn't mold well with the superstructure, causing it to look kind of weird, especially the forward superstructure. Overall though, Lusitania is still a wonderful and innovative ship, which was at least 10 years ahead of its time. For that, she will always deserve a spot on this list. From the very beginning of my ocean liner career, the Olympic has always been one of my favorite ocean liners. I know, what a surprise. I made several videos featuring her, and even a video where she is the main topic, but for some reason, I didn't feature her in the original Top 10 Ocean Liners video. Now though, I have realized my mistake, and here we are. The Olympic has an absolutely gorgeous design, which has only gotten more beautiful with time. There are a number of flaws, but I can get over them because so much about her is just perfect. The knife edge bow looks great from any angle, and makes the rest of the ship pop more. The 4 funnels are iconic on Olympic, and make the superstructure more vibrant. The superstructure itself molds perfectly with the hull, since the white strip runs throughout the whole ship, even down the forecastle and poop deck, making it feel like they are one. Speaking of the poop deck, the fantail on Olympic and the whole Olympic class is perfect in every way. It's streamlined and simple, with the superstructure not getting in the way, allowing for a seamless poop deck. This, my friends, is how you do a fantail. Now, the interior is a whole new story, particularly first class. I love the amount of attention put into every public space, like the smoking room and its incredible wood and glass work, the lounge and its very inviting and homey look, the reception room, Cafe Parisienne, the grand staircase. Everything is just so incredible. I'm not an interior expert, but I can tell there was so much effort put into every space. Not everything is great, but I really appreciate the stuff that is. Olympic is a truly great ocean liner and ship, and I'm sorry it took me so long to realize. Now, after 7 months, my opinion on almost every ship has changed. Out of all the ships on the previous top 10 video though, Mauritania is one of the few which remain almost the exact same. Mauritania is one of the most beautiful ships I've ever seen, from the inside out. Unlike Lusitania, where I love her interior but still have problems with her exterior, Mauritania, I think, has an equally beautiful interior and exterior. I love her tall and standout appearance, particularly her superstructure. It's very nice, and I love how inviting it is. The forward superstructure is my favorite part about it, with windows replacing portholes on Lusitania, and how every deck going up extends out as opposed to Lusitania where every deck going up retracts. Those big cowtop ventilators as well make the ship look so unique, and not in a bad way at all. In fact, it makes it look even more inviting. Moving inside, you are met with an interior not as luxurious as Lusitania's, I must admit, but I personally prefer it because Lusitania's interior makes me feel like I'm in a palace, while Mauritania's interior makes me feel like I'm in a 5-star hotel more in tune to home. It's very cozy looking, and I love how everything is seamless. This is no doubt my favorite period of ocean liners, and if I were to pick 2 ships for a trip to Europe and back, you bet Mauritania would be one of them. You might be asking yourself, why put Titanic on a list which already has Olympic? Well, even though Titanic and Olympic are still very similar, Titanic gets her spot above Olympic because of her impact, not only on me, but the entire ship community. Now, I've already praised Olympic's exterior and interior, and since they are for the most part the exact same, I will not focus on that aspect. Instead, I will focus on, like I just mentioned, her impact. For one, and this is a pretty obvious one, she has been responsible for who I am today, since, like most other people in the community, she was the first ship I fully researched out, opening me up to other ships and people. Because of Titanic, I have learned so much about not only ocean liners, but warships and war in general. Now I know so much about so many things, and every day I learn so much more, all because of Titanic. It's not the ship itself which forced me to put it so high, but everything its history has done for me, and I know so many more people. That purely gives it a high spot on this list. I can't stress enough how much I love and appreciate Britannic. No, not the Britannic movie, the Britannic ocean liner. I've always had nostalgia for the ship, which most likely is because she was the second ocean liner I actually researched out, but also because ever since 5th grade, I've been drawing her, talking about her, and most importantly, learning about her. Because of that, and just like Titanic, I understandably have a bit of nostalgia towards her. The reason I prefer Britannic over Titanic, though, is surprisingly simple. I prefer her history and design. Even though Titanic has had an overall better impact on my life and I know more about her, I simply prefer Britannic since I genuinely think she is better. Her wreck is cooler, her paint scheme is nicer, her interior, if it was installed, looks more modern and luxurious, and her history is more fun to research. I just prefer Britannic, and always have. It's honestly really close between the two, but if it were to come down to it, I would definitely choose Britannic. Remember how I said in the original top 10 video how I plan to make a lot of Britannic videos? Well, there's still one more video I haven't covered.